Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. It's Brandon, and I am coming to you via StreamYard now, which means I am live on the Connect Your Dots Facebook group, and I'm live on my Brandon Lee site, and I'm also live on YouTube, all at the same time. Isn't technology spectacular? Hey, I would love to hear and see who's joining us today. If you're watching the replay, I'd love to put your name down there and let me know where you're from, and if you find something valuable and educational out of today that's going to apply to your life, I'd love to hear about that too. And look, I am excited not just for today, but I'm excited for this time of year. And I hope you guys are as well. And I think that I was on a call earlier today with one of my mentors, Brendan Bouchard, and we were talking about 2020 and how are we addressing it, and do we make it a big deal, and all that type of stuff. I'm going to move that around right there. Hopefully that's better for everybody. And one of the things when I think about 2020 right now is I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to ponder on it too much. I don't want to get so focused on the challenges of 2020 that I'm missing out on the opportunity to go in to 2021. So, that's a little bit of my kind of personal, throw stuff out there off the cuff while I'm chatting with the audience, while I'm chatting with you all. But today we were going to talk about, what do you really want? And I think that this time of year, we're what, 10 days-ish, 9 days? Oh my gosh, we're 9 days away from Christmas, which means we're about a little over 2 weeks away from the new year. And the new year always brings questions of newness. And I think the new year always brings questions about what do we really want? What do we really want to do as we come into the new year? And we have the ability to start fresh, right? It's kind of one of the nice things about New Year's is it gives us this new opportunity. It gives us a chance to just say, okay, let me take a deep breath. Maybe I didn't do everything I wanted to do last year, but this becomes an opportunity to start new. So a couple of questions I have about what do you really want to do? And today's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. And I'd love, as you're watching this, to throw your answers down below. But my question number one is, what are the one or two areas of your life that need the most of your focus right now? Have you ever asked yourself that question before? Have you ever taken the time to think, what are the two areas, one area even, that if I focused on this and I got really good at it, whatever that may mean, that it would be the biggest difference, the biggest influence in moving your life into the direction that you want? And I want to encourage you all today to take the time to ask that question, and not just the, oh yeah, I'm in the car thinking, oh yeah, kind of. But if you want massive change in your life, then these are the types of questions you got to ask yourself. And these are the types of questions you need to spend time on and thinking about them and going deep into the answer for you. So if you had one thing to say, put it in the comments. What would it be? And if you want to, say why. What could that possibly do for you in your life? Maybe it's clarity. Maybe you just need to figure out, I gotta really think about what I want to do. Maybe it's physical fitness. I think a lot of us with quarantine and COVID and everything, and just everything being out of whack. I know for me, with some people I've seen them, they've gotten super fit, and they have the time to do it. And others, like me, I started out really well, and then as the year kept going on, I started dwindling down and just not quite where I want to be. But maybe it's on relationships. Maybe you got some relationships in your life that have caused stress, or they're just not where you would like for them to be. And it might be difficult to pick those back up and to get them where you want them to go. And so a lot of times our tendency is just to avoid it. So what is it for you? What is those one or two things that if you really focused on them would have the biggest impact, biggest positive impact in your life? I'd also ask you this. I got my notes over here. Along those lines, if you had 3 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 3 months. Notice I didn't say life goals. I didn't talk about big, huge picture goals, but just in the next 3 months. Have you thought about what those things would be? What would those accomplishments be for you? Take the time, write it down, think about it, and then start working on what that action plan could be for you to get there. Now, look, you all know I'm a high performance coach. I love to live a high performance life. And what that means is making sure I'm constantly aware of what is it that I want, what is it that I need to get there. And I got distracted. A comment popped up and it totally threw me off. I lost my train of thought. But what are those 3 goals? And as I talk about the next 30 to 90 days, it's because sometimes when we come into the new year, we start thinking about, I'm gonna work out every day, and that starts to get overwhelming. Like, what about the first week? What about the first day? What about taking things in smaller chunks? So as you're thinking about your goals, I want to throw this question out at you too, because they're kind of a balancing act for me. What are areas that you want to grow? Because I think that there's a lot of emphasis on goals this time of year. And I'm a big believer in goals. I really am. But I'm also a big believer in growth. And my friend and mentor, John Maxwell, would say that when you're goal-oriented, sometimes you'll hit your goals, sometimes you won't. But when you're growth-oriented, you're always growing. And I think there's a lot of wisdom to that. I do think that when we have SMART goals, you may have heard the term SMART goals, that are specific and measurable goals. They're attainable, they're realistic, and you got a time limit on them, SMART. When we have SMART goals, there's an internal motivation that helps us get there. We could put systems in place to help us accomplish it within certain times. But when we're growth oriented, it means that we're consistently in a state of growth. It's a way of changing the rules that's in our mind to help us accomplish our goals. Now, here's an example. Years ago, I wanted to start being better at doing push-ups. Getting a little older and the man boobs are starting to come in. I wasn't as fit as I was. And I thought, hey, if I could just do some push-ups, that would help me feel stronger up top. And I hate the gym. I love running. I love doing CrossFit type stuff, but I just hate going to the gym and lifting weights. So I was going to do push-ups. Now I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 100 push-ups a day. And, first day, 100. Second day, 100. Third day, not 100. What happens when we set goals like that and then we don't accomplish them? Our mind can go into failure mode. Our mind can go into beating ourselves up mode. And when we miss that day, right, we didn't eat well today. We didn't do our push-ups today. I didn't get the 3-mile run in today. I didn't meditate, whatever it may be. There's a black and white to it. There's a yes or a no. There's a check the box or didn't check the box. There's a I succeeded or I failed. Like, you see where I'm going, right? And I got tired of that up and down. Then I gear myself up, because for me, normally, once I stopped doing those push-ups, I didn't get back on the next day or the next day. It took me a while to get to the point and go, okay, I really want to start doing this. Okay, there's my goal. 100 push-ups every day. I mean, how many of you out there have done this? You've done this up and down with the goal setting, whether it's fitness or diet or meditating or reading your Bible or wherever it may be. What I learned from John Maxwell about being growth oriented, and I learned from Tony Robbins about changing the rule in my own brain, was that I started saying, instead of doing 100 push-ups a day, I started saying, I do push-ups. I do push-ups. And when I say I do push-ups, it gives me the freedom. And I know this is really weird, and maybe you're like, oh, Brandon, you're just splitting hairs. But for me, it helped. I do push-ups means that if I don't do push-ups today, I didn't fail. I do push-ups, and I could go do them right now. Or maybe I did them a couple days ago. But what I found in doing that and changing that rule is that now I can stay focused on the momentum of moving forward instead of focused on the failure of not hitting that goal every single day. Now, I want to emphasize, I love goals, and I think there's a time and there's a place for them. And inside our the high performance membership program, or inside of our group coaching, we talk a lot about goals. We talk about growth, and we talk about the differences and when we want them. But I think for today, what I wanted to ask the questions about is, have you taken the time to think about what you want to be focused on in 2021? And if so, what are the 1 or 2 areas that if you really focused on them, you got good at them, you nailed those in, that would make the biggest difference in your life? And then the third question is just going a little bit more specific. What are your goals? What are a couple of goals that you would like to put in place over the next 30 to 90 days? And then what's the plan? What's the discipline? What's the habits, the strategies and systems that you're going to put in place to help you accomplish them? Because really, I know that we can read more books, we can listen to more TED Talks, we can listen to more podcasts, we can go to more seminars, you could join my coaching program, but it really comes down to, how do we implement? How do we actually implement daily habits that over time, those little habits become really big differences in our life? I always love the story or the analogy of an airplane taking off from Los Angeles and heading to New York, clear across the country, from south to the north, from the west to the east. And if that plane starts taking off and it's just 1 degree off course, it will miss its destination. When we look at that in the reverse and we think about, if it has that much influence on a plane, 1 degree off, and it will completely go south of its destination. What does it mean if we make 1 degree, little moves, little differences in our life each and every day? I call those strategies and systems. I also call them habits. You'll see here's my finger. There it is. My High Performance Habits book over there, based on Brendon Burchard and the High Performance Institute. What I have seen in my life is that what's here is great, but the daily habits, the daily systems, the way that I live my life every day, the way I lead myself is what makes a difference between what I'm accomplishing and what's still left unaccomplished. All right, everybody. I hope that today was valuable for you. Hey, if any of this is ringing a bell and you're thinking, I need to get more focus, what I want you to do is, I'll put it down in there, is take a look at the membership program, the High Performance Coaching Program. It's $39 a month. We do 2 deep dive trainings every month, and I load it with all of my templates and worksheets and best practices and strategies. And if you're interested in any of the others, I've got a group program where it's limited to 20 people, and that's where we go more interactive. And there's opportunity in there for one-on-ones as well. And then, of course, I do have the one-on-one coaching. So, hey, everybody on Connect Your Dots, a new podcast, a new one published today, a new episode. I think it was episode 13 is in there today. I'm so excited for episode 14 next week. And take a look. And if you like what you're hearing, I would always really appreciate it if you would share Connect Your Dots or my Brandon Lee page with your friends. If anyone needs that encouragement, that motivation, a little bit of a kick in the pants to get those habits focused and move their life in a positive direction, I'd love to be here for you, and I'd love and appreciate if you'd share it with your friends. All right, everybody, this was Wisdom and Wednesday, and I was your host, Brandon Lee, and I appreciate you being here. Have a great night.